Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind Evident Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, I'm talking about, now in this case, this is my little series right now. What makes your sign this? And right now, this is based upon the Sun and the Mercury planetary alignment between each other. So whatever your sign is, that's just going to be for this segment. But I'm going to do many videos of this. But for this segment right here, you're going to have 3 versions of a sign, because we know Mercury can only be in 3 signs when a person is a Pacific Sun sign, aka Earth sign. So in this case right now, we're talking about Capricorn. So this is, in this segment right here, this is what makes Capricorns reserved. Now, what makes Capricorns? Let's talk about Capricorn for a second. Now, Capricorn is cardinal Earth. Cardinal Earth, we know cardinal is initiating and creating new, and in this case, Earth represents thinking and practicality. So, right now, Capricorns in general is initiating and creating new ways of how to think and new ways of being practical, being into reality, common sense. Now, so when we have that, you know, we have people, we have sturdy people, we have stable, goal-orientated people. We have people who feel uncomfortable when they have no goals. We have people who are, the way they act and a lot of their actions comes from being grounded. So if it's no form of expression that need to be expressed, they're not going to be express it. If there's no form of thought that need to be communicated, they're not going to communicate it. If it's no form of emotion that need to be felt, they're not going to feel it. So this is what makes them reserved, because it's Earth. They like to initiate their own way of thinking and their own way of being practical. So if whatever they felt doesn't make sense in reality, then they're gonna let it pass. And if you're throwing emotional weight on them, they're gonna wait till you calm down and let that pass and hit you where it hurts. When if it's an inspiration or an expression that they want to get out, or some spiritual matter that they want to get out that it doesn't make realistic sense, or not, they're going to get them from point A to point B, then they're not going to be attached to that fire. They're not going to let that fire burn them or whatever like that, and they're going to keep their bridge intact, and they're not going to, or they might just burn the bridge down from that person. And then when it comes to like, you know, water, when it comes to air, you know, if it's a thought, now they're gonna think, but if it's not needed to be communicated, they just gonna think. If it doesn't make sense, if the thought doesn't make sense, it doesn't make practical sense, then they're not going to communicate it. They're just going to think about it and let it pass. See, that's the difference between the air. The air is the thinking and communication. They can just think of a lot of ideas and communicate about a bunch of stuff. Whether it makes sense or not, it's due to the sake of conversation. Earth signs, not so much. This is what makes them reserved. If it doesn't make sense, it's not worth communicating about. So this is what makes them reserved. But the things that they will talk about, they will talk your ears off about some things. Now, let's get into the 3 reserved Capricorn types. Now you have this self-reserved Capricorn. So that's if Mercury is in Capricorn along with your Sun. So this is the self-reserved Capricorn. So this, when you take your thinking and the way you analyze and communicate and place that into cardinal Earth, which is initiating new ways of how to think and communicate, now you're doing that with yourself. So you're thinking to yourself now. You're being practical about yourself now. So now you might be hard on yourself when you're not thinking too well, or when you're not being practical enough. And then when you put into action of unpracticality, or able to let others see you not as smart as you feel like you appear to be, it becomes, you start to think about it in a way of being hard on yourself, like, okay, get it straight next time. Take the practical procedures to not be looked at like that no more. Or like if you're failing in school, you're the type of person with Mercury and Capricorn to make sure I take the practical procedures I need to take in order to not fail. If I need to write down notes, write down notes. If I need to study, I need to study. If I need to go to study hall, go to study hall. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're going to think. These are the things you think about. And when you don't do these things that you think about, you feel uncomfortable with yourself, because you might be influenced by friends or stuff to be like, man, fuck study hall today, or fuck taking notes today. And then you chill with your friends, but now you may feel feel a certain way about your friends now because they didn't, you're going to feel guilty by not doing what you initially thought about. Because here's Cardinal initiating and creating newness, and in this ways of thinking and practicality. So now you may resent your friends at times and start becoming mother and father authorities to your friends in light ways or certain type ways, or may blame them for you to do stuff that you knew better not to do and stuff like that. So it can play out and stuff like that. But you know, for the most part, with Mercury being in Capricorn, this is the self-reserved Capricorn. So by it being the self-reserved Capricorn, that's what makes you self-reserved, because you're always thinking about your own step-by-step plan, and then you may look towards other step-by-step plan in order to help yourself. Like, you're not looking at it for the sake of you happy for them. You're looking at it for the sake of what can I acquire that they're doing and place upon myself so I can benefit myself. You know what I'm saying? So if you're around a bunch of people with the wrong crowd, you're going to do that in the wrong way. If you're around people in a good crowd, you're going to do that in a good way. So that's your self-reserved Capricorns. Now you have your spiritually reserved Capricorns. That's if your Mercury is in Sagittarius, and that's if your Mercury is Sagittarius, and okay, sun sign Capricorn. So now your Mercury doesn't like to be here. So it may lack reality, but it's gonna gain inspiration, optimism. You know what I'm saying? A spiritual aspect, like an idea from someone, a good nature or even a bad nature. But it's an essence. That's a spiritual nature. So you know what I'm saying? When you have Mercury here, these are the things you think and communicate about. You think and communicate about mutable fire. Sagittarius is mutable fire. So mutable fire is mutable as being changeable and being able to adapt to your own or other people's. And in fire case, the feelings and the seeing, the way of seeing things. You know what I'm saying? So it's visions. So right here, the way you think and what you're analyzing about and what's on your thoughts is seeing a broad perspective, seeing how other people feel about things, seeing how other people express themselves, seeing how other people's visions, other people's ways of seeing, and other people's ways of feeling about things. And then when it gets filtered through your actions, which is your sun sign, which is Capricorn, you're going to do that in a very practical way. You know what I'm saying? A very step-by-step way. It's almost like you're going to be able to take your broad perspective, your philosophical view on things, and you're going to be able to like put that into reality, like to see if it actually works, to see if this thing actually works. And you're gonna able to schedule it, like you're gonna able to like do this, like stay on protocol, like where others may not stay on task, you know how to stay on task. So if you come up, if your mind is on some philosophical view about something, your actions are gonna make sure you stay on that task, make sure you only do that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to initiate and create all kind of new ways of how to think and practicalize those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be able to teach others. This is another teacher sign, Capricorns with Mercury and Sagittarius. Because you're going to be able to teach that to others in a very practical way, in a way that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? In a way that other people can understand it. Also, when you have Mercury in Sagittarius, a lot of times you're going to attach a lot of optimism, and your sun sign may not be with that. Your sun sign may be like, that ain't reality though, like these ain't things. So you're going to take a lot of inspirations and things that you do and place them into things that's reality. So the way you think and communicate and analyze is going to be like in an optimistic, inspirational way. You're going to think that's how you're supposed to be, upbeat, uplifted. And your actions is going to be witnessing situations that's not quite that way. So you're just going to add that extra spirit with your actions to be like, okay, I am doing this because I am trying to get from point A to point B. And that's going to be inspirational to people. Because that's going to be the way you communicate too. You're going to communicate like you're tired of this experience, or you're going to communicate like you're trying to teach somebody a better way of doing something. Even if you're not, you could be joking with somebody, but you always got this type of energy of inspiration of a better, brighter way of doing it. So you know what I'm saying? And then it's always going to be filtered through things that's in reality, like better jobs, or better way of how to fix things, or better way of how to get things stable, how to ground people and stuff like that. So you're going to be able to take these thoughts and ground it, you know what I'm saying, to the point that you reserve, but you help people spiritually. You give people ideas. You help people understand what kind of gift that they have and what kind of gift that they can start to work on a day-to-day basis in order to get to see their in order for them to see their goals. So this is like an inspirational Capricorn right here. You know what I'm saying? Now, you have the reserved thinkers, Capricorns. Now the reserved thinkers is if your Mercury is in Libra. Now if your Mercury is in Libra, I mean not Libra, Aquarius. If your Mercury is in Aquarius. Now, because Mercury can only be in 3 signs. The sign is in, or the sign that's on both sides of the sign that is in. So now, Mercury in Aquarius, Capricorns, right here is the practical, the reserved thinkers. So these people are reserved in their thoughts, reserved in their thinking. So right here, what is Aquarius? Aquarius is fixed air. So that's being fixated on its own thinking and communication. So when you place Mercury here, Mercury is thinking and communication. So right here, Mercury is going to have its own thoughts, its own way of how to communicate about things. And when it gets filtered through your sun, which is being practical, initiating new ways of how to think and new ways of how to be practical and the common sense about realities and certain things and things that make sense. Right here, you're going to have your own thoughts and your own communicating and your own analyzing way of how things make sense. And no one is going to be able to change that because you didn't already experience things that don't make sense. So anytime someone is around you that just talking the talk and don't make sense, you cut these people off. Anytime it's someone who just talking, you know what I'm saying, like they're not trying to build on nothing or analyze or nothing like that, you're going to look at these people as not bright. You're going to look at these people as not goal orientated. Because right here, actions speak louder than words, but you would like the words to match the actions. So if you see a person who do a lot of actions, but they don't ever talk a lot about what they're going to do or how they're going to do it, it's hard for you to trust these kind of people. And if you see a person who just talk a lot but never doing what they're talking, then you're going to criticize these people. You're not going to like these people. But if you come up with a good amount of person who got a balanced amount of actions and talking, like a person they got the say so what they're going to do, and then you can actually go out and see them do it. These are people you respect. You know what I'm saying? You respect people like that. You know what I'm saying? These are people you're able to build with and able to add thoughts on with and add common sense and practicalities to ideas that may not make sense. You like to make sense out of ideas that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, because Aquarius is the scientific abstract thought of the airs. So when you're thinking abstract and thinking logical and trying to add a left brain annotation to things that's abstract, which Mercury is doing in Aquarius, what happens here, it becomes a scientist to the way how it perceives how others gain structure in their life, what others are doing in order to be stable in their life. And then they're looking and analyzing people who are not stable in their life. And they become people who want to help people who are not stable in their life. So they have humanitarian thoughts, you know what I'm saying? They think, and this is the way they communicate about how to build with others and how to do things with others and how to get like an organization. Then the actions is going to actually play the boss because the actions is in Capricorn. So it's going to actually take the step-by-step at procedures as into actions, you know what I'm saying, and putting things together. And in the way of think and communicate, it has its own way of thinking and communicating of how to get these things done. So whether it's able to have a lot of support due to the Aquarius and Mercury, but even if you're not helping, it's going to have an idea to get the job done, and it's going to come up with a point A, point B, point C plan to get this idea into reality. And the more and more the Capricorns don't see it into reality, the more and more they can change their thoughts and get fixated on another thought. See, that's the downfall of it. They may not stay on something because of how long it's taking. But because they understand patience, but with the Mercury being Aquarius, that's a little faster. So they have many thoughts, and if one thought is not being into the organizable way, or they don't see a structural way that can go into a timely progress, then they're going to change thoughts about. They're going to change their outlook, change their thought, and then have be fixated on a different point of view. You know what I'm saying? But that's the only little problem, the dilemma it could come out with. But as far as the sun sign being in Capricorn and then the Mercury being in Aquarius, this makes people reserved thinkers, because they have their own thoughts, their own communication way, and if it's not really a need to express it due to due to the fact of who they're communicating with or where they're communicating with, they won't. They just analyze it and think about it and come up with a real way, practical way of it that makes sense to the point that they're able to broadcast it to a large amount of people at one time so people can understand it. And that's your three types of your 3 types of Capricorns, and this what makes Capricorns reserved. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn.